You're probably not going to agree with me on this, but seeing as though I don't trust the government as far as I can throw them at the moment, and we've just thrown the Tories out, I don't trust Highways England. I don't trust the Department of Transport because there are lots of law at the moment that they're just ignoring or just not wanting to even acknowledge. For example, the Public Meeting Act clearly applies online. It has to. Look at that petition in Wales that got 400,000 signatures. It would have been impossible without people coming together online and sharing it and talking about it. It was all done online. The only way people could meet and correspond and exchange information about it was through the internet, through Facebook groups and YouTube, and that was a legal case to the Welsh government. So Australia and America don't have the Public Meetings Act 1908 still in effect. Part of it split off for elections separately, but Australia don't have that act. So it is actually unique to England. It does apply online, there's no doubt about it. And it's the police and CPS who are going to enforce it. That's not been enforced, but yet we had all that 77th Brigade taking material down from groups. Really, this group, Stonehenge Alliance group, is critical for people to correspond and talk about the site. I mean, get signatures, sell the merchandise so you can raise money. I mean, I know we can contact by email, but by email, you're only contacting the Alliance. It's when these pages, for example, on Facebook, is where people converge. The Facebook page is where many people come together and read each other's comments rather than just one individual emailing the Alliance with one communication. For many people to see one communication or everyone to see each other's communications, it's on the group. And I know that a lot less gets done on the pages. It's more just, posting information and so forth. There's a lot more goes on, like you've got these archaeological meetings and, exhibitions and various other things that people are doing. But the Facebook group is critical for the passing and sharing of informations, and the platforms also, I think, are encouraging, a lot of people to misuse a lot of the moderation buttons and so forth. So, there's two parts to that Public Meeting Act. That's just an example. So this is why I don't, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport is supposed to be responsible for meeting with the platforms. And the Attorney General hasn't really done anything. I don't think Keir Starmer's going to do anything. He's saying he's not going to do anything about the tunnel. He wants to see what happens, but, it might be too late. Particularly when, according to Magna Carta, apparently, the government isn't allowed to actually act against the Great Charter. So there's not, you don't wait to see what the court says. But anyway, I've been speaking for 4 minutes now, and what I really wanted to say is, I put in a post the other day that I'm not too keen on this idea that in order to save Stonehenge, it might have to be put onto this endangered sites list. The whole concept of putting Stonehenge and Wiltshire and all the ancient sites, around the area, onto this status that will be labelled and called at risk, these very, very ancient English sites that, Stonehenge people come from all over the world, is at risk, at danger, under threat. It's not very, I don't think it's kind of like, Stonehenge is meant to be a powerful monument, although, it is ruins, really, but it's meant to be a powerful monument, and they're meant to be, you know, powerful burials and tombs and sites and temples from this ancient culture, which is meant to be revered. And yet, it's meant to be really, you know. Can you remember when you had that morning TV show? I think it was from Liverpool, and they had that like map of England, and they had all these like, you know, that floating map at Albert Dock, was it? Actually, they had that floating map at Albert Dock, didn't they? I think it was in Liverpool, wasn't it? Pebble Mill. I'm not sure. I might be wrong about that, but it might have been actually floating in the water or the dock. I looked into it and I found the answer, but it's a while back now because I was interested in where that like floating map of England was on for morning TV for the weather, right? Because I used to walk around on it, right? And they had like, you know, Stonehenge. They had like a model of Stonehenge on it, and various other important locations in England were on that map. So you know that it's important when your morning TV programme that does the weather has a big map of England and Stonehenge is on it. It's one of the main motifs, one of the main emblems of England. Like this King's Peace that we've got, the A5, the Watling Street crossing Foss Way forms a huge cross in England, right? And we've been looking into this, like possibly being something behind the flag, or even the St Andrews or the St George's flag. They're both crosses. These are the four. There's four roads. The King's Peace, Watling Street is one of these peace routes, and it's meant to originate from, you know, before the Romans, and it's called the King's Peace, right? These are the major trade routes. It does form a cross, a perfect big cross, right? And I was interested in this. I found out about it because of the Liberty of London, although the original Liberty of London is north of the river and around like the core of the city and the bridge. But this King's Peace is where they get this Magna Carta from, right? Which is still in effect. The Magna Carta clause for the Liberty of London is all of the old customs and liberties of London. One of them was meant to be no tolls through London, right? No tolls to pass through London, because it's on this Watling Street A5, which is one of the paths. It's one of these two big crosses, Foss Way and Watling Street, that make this big, well, basically St Andrews shaped flag on the nation. You know, goes from Exeter to Lincoln on one diagonal, and then from, you know, Canterbury or Dover through London and up to Shrewsbury on the other diagonal, right? That's meant to be, that's in Magna Carta still in effect, right? And you're not meant to have any tolls through London, and this is the legal claim for ULEZ, why, you know, ULEZ is meant to be illegal, right? Because it's still in Magna Carta that you can't be charged for travelling by land through London. And the way that I work it out, in my mind, is this, right? You move from point A to point B, right? Or from any point to any point, point X to point Y, or, you know, you move from a position to another position through an area, right? That's the equation in mathematics. From point A, anywhere through area to point B, right? And you shall not hand over money for that privilege of travelling. You know, you can call it what you want in law. You can call it a toll, you can call it a fine, you can call it a charge, you can call it a fee. At the end of the day, mathematically, right, it's you moving over land from point A to point B through area, right? Area equals, in the equation, A is area. Area equals London. A equals London. So where the area is London, and you move through area from any point A to B, right? You don't hand money over. They can't take money off you in any form or way. It doesn't matter what you call it, fine, toll, charge, fee, whatever. The mathematics is you don't move through area, right? You don't have money over, because it's a liberty, right? I mean, that's part of what I've found out from this. So this is why I don't trust the government, you know. And that Judge Swift, who did that more recent ULEZ expansion case, he was the attorney in government finance, sitting a ULEZ case. He was the attorney for government in finance, right? When around the time when Tony Blair put the congestion charge, and that was also against the Liberty of London as well. And you've got this law that they're breaking and not acknowledging. And then Swift, who was attorney for government finance, ends up later on being a judge in this ULEZ expansion case, right? So if he hasn't got a vested interest in that when he was helping the government, you know, sort the finances out, particularly when the congestion charge was being implemented, right, around that time. And now Swift ends up as head of the Boundary Commission of all places. Can you believe that? In charge of the Boundary Commission, right? People, they get rewarded. So this is why I don't trust the government, right? Now, what I wanted to say is this. This is the UNESCO. I mean, if you're with me 11 minutes in, right? I mean, I'm not talking tosh. This is like my opinion anyway, regardless of whether you not think it's tosh or not. 11 minutes in, right? UNESCO, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. These are all the UNESCO sites here, right? And we've got Stonehenge, Avebury, and associated sites. The word associated means that they are all associated with each other. So you associate them. That means they're all linked and connected. If you associate sites together, Stonehenge, Avebury, and when you've got an association, that means they're all linked and connected. So that means they're grouped. So surely all the land in between them all is also surely part of that association, right? Surely. But what I've got now, this is why I'm scratching my head here. And, you know, I appreciate it if you've gone with me on 12 minutes for this, right? We scroll down all these English sites. There's a Maritime Greenwich one there, right? Then we've got, you know, like Neolithic Orkney, various sites, even the Tower of London, right? But here, notice here, one's crossed out. Notice that one's crossed out here. The Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City, delisted in 2021. Are there any more crossed off this? No. Were there other sites that were on here that have got crossed off and now they just don't even show us that they're crossed off, you know? Or is it something exceptionally noteworthy when they do get crossed off? So is this crossing off of Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City, delisted 2021, is this like a big thing, right? To have it crossed off this list, because apparently they're wanting to cross Stonehenge off this. Are they going to have to cross Stonehenge, Avebury, and associated sites off it? Can you, if this is listed as Stonehenge, Avebury, and associated sites as one listing, do you have to cross all of them off? Can you just cross one of them off, right? Now, the thing is, this is the thing. I was aware of this Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City, you know, the Liverpool Dock, because it was meant to be a very, very old wood, like one of the oldest wooden constructed, one of the oldest wooden structures that are surviving, you know. It was meant to be really, really kind of like old and preserved, you know, for its period time. There was a lot of, I think I saw some YouTube videos when there were lots of people in Liverpool making videos about it and going to it and complaining about it and trying to stop it from getting delisted and pulled to bits. Now, this is the thing, right? This is where I think, you know, Mr. Holland and I may disagree with each other, even though, you know, like we're both meant to be, you know, people who want to protect Stonehenge and surrounding area, right? I'm not a great fan of the royals, right? because, you know, you've got the whole Royal Albert Dock and all this, but, you know, why would you list it in the first place and have it on this very exceptional, prestigious list, you know, this quite rare list of sites, you know, if you didn't actually mean to have it on there, right? You know, if it wasn't, you know, worth preserving, how would it end up on there, right? So now there might be many reasons why the government wanted to take that dock down, you know, for development or whatever, but it's meant to be protected. The whole point of having it on this list is so if it's, you know, if it's on the list and, you know, it gets taken off, there's not much protection there, is there really, you know? Now, I just want to propose this, and I might be wrong about it. This is the part that I'm saying that I may be wrong about, but it's worth considering just in case that I'm right, you know? And that is that, this is the question that I really want to put to, you know, Mr. Holland, is this, right? If the government, that is the establishment, including, you know, Privy Council, Charles, Department of Transport, Highways England, you know, all these top highways executives, you know, Prime Minister, etc., World Economic Forum, Starmer, whoever, all this, you know, core elite who have got big plans for the country, right? If they were planning and strategizing, right, possibly years ago, that they might have wanted to build this tunnel and, you know, make an imprint on Stonehenge, you know, in their own way, but it was going to be difficult or near impossible because of its protected status, right? And it might be near, you know, impossible to get something removed from this list. I mean, to get Stonehenge removed from this list surely is a feat of its own, however that is. But if they could get something else removed from this list, if they could remove another site from this list, at least then to make it possible that you can get them removed from this site, get them delisted, because why would you have any of these on this list in the first place if you were going to delist them? You go to great trouble and efforts to get places on this list. It's not easy to get places on this list, right? So you got to be serious to get something on this list and have it protected, right? Why would you want to remove it, right? But the thing is, once you get something removed, then the prospects of getting other sites removed from it are a lot more possible then. So once you've delisted one site, then it's more possible to get others delisted. So could there be I mean, I'm thinking Columbo, you know, and Poirot here. I'm thinking Super Sleuth. You know, I might be wrong, but could it have been in the interest strategically of the government to get the Liverpool dock delisted and pull it down, just so they could get a site on this list delisted and get it taken off? And then once they've done that, because really Stonehenge, you would have thought Stonehenge, Avebury and surrounding sites would be the last site that you would want to take off this list. You know, probably even less likely than the Tower of London, you know. Or, you know, Stonehenge is older than the city of Bath, Blenheim Palace, Studley Royal Park. Stonehenge is, you know, prehistoric, ancient. I mean, I know Giant Causeway is a natural feature, but, you know, Stonehenge really is unique, you know. And you know, I can't see why anyone would want to build on Giant's Causeway anyway. I mean, what they're going to do, build a Captain Nemo Centre or something, you know, although I won't put it past them. But, you know, Stonehenge, you know, also, you know, you've got this Orkney site as well, the village. But really, you know, Stonehenge, you would have thought at least Stonehenge would have been the least likely place that would be taken off this list, or the least likely place that it was possible to get removed from this list, right? So, but now that I know the Liverpool Maritime Mercantile City, and they pulled down that dock, it's crossed out. Oh, look, they can get removed. That's funny. I didn't think it was possible to get removed on there, removed from here. But now this is the thing. There are actually now even people considering or contemplating Stonehenge being removed from its World Heritage status, what's the point in having it being protected, Actually, when I come to think of it, this United Nations religious site protection, that's another protection that people never talk about or mention. But when you come to it, what is a religious site? Well, a graveyard's a religious site. It doesn't have to be a temple. A religious site is anything to do with religion, which includes death and burials as well as ceremonies. So if you think about it, the United Nations religious site protection, when I'm raising this matter about Wheel Reef and the laws of Edward the Confessor and the Charter of Liberties and Magna Carta and the fact that it's literally, it is impossible to make an order that goes against the Great Charter. It's actually clearly, you can't make an order that goes against the Great Charter because it says that you're a traitor to the nation in law and that, you get judged in Parliament. It's void. If you make an order against this Great Charter, it's void. So I actually think that the Highways Department, these contractors, these Highways Executive Chiefs, Department of Transport Chiefs, and the people behind it, I think that there's a connection between them getting this Liverpool Maritime Dock delisted and removed from this UNESCO list with their intentions to Stonehenge. I don't think Stonehenge should be put on and at risk, because who is it at risk from? Well, it seems to me that the only body or entity that it's at risk from is HM government, His Majesty's government, our own government. Now, if it was at risk from like flooding or at risk from, if it was right on the coast and the coast was eroding and the sea was taking it away, that's at risk, right? But you can't have an ancient site that is protected as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO and a religious site and protected by Magna Carta, in fact, that any order or judgment, including a statutory instrument made by the government, is void, right? Which, you don't even need United Nations religious site protection. That is Magna Carta religious site protection. That is, Parliament can't open without Magna Carta, because that's where all the ancient rights and privileges are in, and that's how the Speaker opens Parliament with the Chancellor, with a petition of all the ancient rights and privileges, right? Parliament can't open without Magna Carta. So it's impossible. So you can't even have a Parliament. Orders made against Magna Carta are illegal. So you don't even need UNESCO, even World Heritage status. It's protected under England law. It cannot be spoiled at all or ruined. So, I'm certain that, there's some strategy in this. Why would they want to destroy this mercantile city when it's really a beautiful place, You don't want more people to visit it and see it, It doesn't make sense to me. Now, you can say whatever story's behind that, but now when we come to look at Stonehenge, no, they're thinking about delisting it and changing its listing to a different status. Well, what's the point of having it on the list? And then you look here and go, one of them's being crossed out, or they can get removed. Now it's possible, now, that's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at this list. I'm like, But the other connection that I've said to Liverpool, it's funny. don't you think it's funny that the only... What are the chances of this, like in, roll the dice, like roll it, what are the chances that out of all the UNESCO World Heritage Sites in England on the list, the only one that's been crossed out here is Liverpool? And as far as I know, it was Liverpool, I'm sure it was something like Pebble Mill or something like that, where they had a big cutout of England, and it was like very, very famous on TV. And everyone watched it on the morning, and they had that guy running around on the giant map with Stonehenge on it, right? That's how everyone knew about Stonehenge and was aware of it, right? And isn't it funny that, it's they wanted to take Stonehenge, cross it out, and change it to at risk or something, but not at risk from our own government, at risk from our own government. That's self-harm. And in fact, it was the government who delisted the Albert Dock to pull it down. They harmed it. The Maritime Mercantile City. They pulled it down. It's not like, it got flooded, or there was an earthquake, or, there was a geological fracture, or they went fracking underneath it, or something like that. We're talking about industry, commercial enterprises, money, buying things, this protects from that. Surely it should only be at risk, I know the Amazon's at risk from these foresters and so forth, and, they should be doing more to protect the Amazon, but that's a large area to protect. We're talking about our island, which isn't that big, and then Stonehenge, which is clearly, it's a little bit easy to define it than the entire Amazon, It's our own government. You can't have one of these sites which is at risk from the government that put it on the list, because the government put it on the list to stop it being put at risk from other entities and interests, not from its own. You can't put it at risk from yourself. It's almost like being, BFG, the giant, like tripping up. Or I might trip up over it, and it's at risk from me. It's like self-harm. It's like, razor blade in your wrists or something. And this whole Starmer not intervening in it is insane. I'm not going to intervene. Well, you'll have to intervene, Starmer, because you're a criminal otherwise, you can't put that tunnel by Stonehenge, because these sites they're associated. Stonehenge, Avebury, and associated sites. Well, they all have an association around each other. So they're all interconnected, which is where the tunnel's going, in and around. So, it's not possible in English law. It's actually illegal for the government. It's criminal. The whole basis of it. So, I just wanted to, I'd probably after, it's going to be half an hour now. Didn't need to be half an hour talk. But the great spa towns of Europe. The great spa towns of Europe. The slate landscape of northwest Wales. You'd have actually thought that Henbury Cross Hillfort would have been on here, like the actual dragon Hillfort. I don't even think Maiden Castle's on here, is it? Saltaire's on here as well. It might fall under Dorset and East Devon Coast. I think that it falls under Dorset and East Devon Coast, Maiden Castle, I would have thought. Dorchester. Still, there's something... There's something doesn't feel right to me with this Liverpool thing, and then this being crossed off, and then, oh look, Stonehenge, we might have to cross it off. Can you do that? And then that's funny. Liverpool. Didn't we used to? I'm sure it was Liverpool. I'll have to check. I might have been wrong about that. It might have been London. But I'm sure when I checked, we could search now, actually. Hold on a second. This is it here. I just typed in Pebble Mill map. Fred's Weather Island. Was this in Liverpool or was it in London?
For all your calls, and now we're going to publicly blame Fred for the fact that here in Liverpool the weather is absolutely disgustingly awful and the rest of the country is bathing in sunshine.
Oh, it's not disgustingly awful. I know it is cloudy. It's because we had the sun dancers on the map yesterday. It really is a disappointment, Judy. I looked at a satellite picture about half an hour ago, and it is the western side of Britain that's lingering under cloud. The rest of Britain has got a lot of sun, but there again, being in Liverpool, we're not getting sunburn, so it's better. It's getting sun cancer. Right, over the north of Scotland, a lot of cloud. It is producing some light rain. Most of this rain down the western side, and it is going to linger. I suppose in the east there could be some brightness in Scotland, but temperature's not too bad. About 14 or 15 Celsius over Scotland. Not brilliant at all. Right. Into Northern Ireland. Again, this band of cloud extends over here. You're stuck with it this afternoon. It's producing bits of rain here and there. There again, we go into Southern Ireland on the western side. It's nice sunshine. So look at the draw. It's the look of the draw. Right. Into loads of jellyfish down here. Right. Into Northern England. Really, the Pennines are the barrier. Down the western side, it's cloudy. It is high cloud. They're saying that over Cumbria is producing bits of rain at the moment. Once we come down the eastern side, an awful lot better. And this is where the temperatures rise. So put the cream on, be careful. In Wales, again, this band of cloud runs straight down here for Prince Charles opening the Severn Bridge today, or the new Severn Bridge. He's got cloud. This extends all the way down through Wales. This is basically a dry situation, though. Once we come to the Midlands, spreading over to East Anglia and the South East, absolutely brilliant. This is where the temperatures are high. Be careful of the sun at this time of day. Try and enjoy it by keeping in the shade. When we move down to the southwest, we've got a cloud. As of tomorrow, looks like it's going to be cloud in the west again. Bye-bye.
Oh, well, we don't have to worry about sunburn tomorrow then, Fred.
Yeah, so they did have Stonehenge there. Yeah, so you can actually see Stonehenge there. Just kind of by the red line at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, it was a big Stonehenge. I wonder who made that model. So there's a connection between... It is Liverpool. They said they were in Liverpool. She just said. And it's in the water. In the water at Liverpool. With a big Stonehenge. Got delisted and they ripped it down. And now they're wanting to remove Stonehenge from it and put it at risk. If that ain't a connection, you know, it's not that tenuous a connection, you know. And I still don't think that Mr. Holland is that convinced that, you know, they don't favour the prehistoric, pre-conquest folk people. There's a lot of people talking about this now, actually. I'm not the only kind of lone spirit talking about it. There's like, if you go on like a lot of the Extinction Rebellion groups, like Rise Up, Ian Bray, all those kind of groups, that they're all like, you know, talking about it. You know, and then you got that republic.org.uk. So, you know, I know that the archaeologists have got to, you know, keep the charities happy and on all these, you know, RSPCA type circles and so forth. But, you know, there's evidence. There's evidence in the actions, what they're doing, these people. I know at one point they're kind of celebrating it here, but not. It doesn't seem so much anymore, unless it's been slowly pulled to bits while it's been inspected.